Does the modern office ever feel like a battlefield to you? The constant chatter, the never-ending meetings, the unspoken pressure to be on all the time? If you're a highly sensitive person, it can leave you feeling completely fried before you've even had lunch. But what if your career could be a sanctuary instead of a struggle? Today, we're going through the ultimate job list for highly sensitive people, zeroing in on calm, meaningful, and low-stress roles where you can finally use your unique gifts to thrive. If that feeling of being totally exhausted by the social and sensory overload of your job sounds familiar, just take a deep breath. You are not alone, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Feeling overwhelmed isn't a personal failure. It's a sign that your environment is a bad match for your very powerful, finely tuned nervous system. You see, researchers estimate that about 15 to 20% of the population are highly sensitive people, otherwise known as HSPs. It's not a disorder, it's a biological trait. It's a fundamental difference in how your nervous system processes everything. You take in more from your surroundings. The tiny shifts in someone's tone of voice, the flicker of fluorescent lights that no one else seems to notice, the emotional temperature of a room. You feel things more deeply, think about them more thoroughly, and make connections that other people often miss. For years, one of my clients, let's call him James, was convinced he was too sensitive for the corporate world. He worked at a fast-paced tech startup where the culture was loud, aggressive, and relentlessly social. He was literally told to stand on tables to get his team's attention and was expected to be available at all hours. Every single night, he came home feeling like he'd run a marathon, totally depleted, and questioning if he was even good at his job. The truth was, he was a writer and editor at heart. Someone who thrives in quiet, focused spaces where they can think deeply and create. It wasn't until he understood his own sensitive nature that he realized he wasn't broken. He was just a finely tuned instrument trying to play in a heavy metal band. This video is for anyone who has ever felt that way. It's for the deep thinkers, the empaths, the creatives, and the quiet observers who've been told they just need to toughen up. We're going to tear down that myth. We're not talking about how to survive the battlefield anymore. We're talking about how to find your sanctuary. We'll explore specific careers that don't just put up with your sensitivity, but actually celebrate it, letting you turn what you might have seen as a weakness into your greatest professional superpower. Before we get to the list of jobs, we need to talk about why certain careers are such a good fit. And to do that, we must reframe how we think about high sensitivity. The world might slap labels on you like shy, introverted, or too emotional. But those labels miss the incredible strengths that come with your wiring. It's time to stop focusing on the challenges and start seeing your traits as the superpowers they really are. First, let's be real about the pain points. Why does a typical office feel so draining? It's not in your head. The modern workplace with its open plan offices, constant collaboration, and back-to-back meetings is a sensory minefield for an HSP. The endless hum of conversation, the total lack of privacy, the nonstop pings from Slack and email, it's a recipe for overstimulation. This isn't just a minor annoyance. For an HSP, it's a constant drain on your mental and emotional battery, leaving you with no energy for the actual work you were hired to do. On top of that, the move fast and break things culture in many industries is a direct clash with the HSP's natural tendency for deep processing. You're not slow, you're thorough. You need time to think, to consider all the angles, and to produce high-quality, thoughtful work. When you're constantly rushed, it feels like you're being asked to sacrifice your integrity, which is a horrible feeling for a conscientious HSP. And don't even get me started on workplace politics. Your high empathy means you feel all the tension and unspoken drama in a room with painful intensity, which is just as exhausting. But here's the amazing part. The very traits that make you struggle in the wrong environment are the exact same traits that make you exceptional in the right one. Let's break down your superpowers with the DOES model, a simple framework that explains a trait. The first is D, depth of processing. This is your core superpower. You don't just skim the surface. You dive into the deep end. You think things through on a whole other level, seeing patterns, making connections, and noticing nuances that fly right by everyone else. In a world that often wants quick, shallow answers, you're the one asking the important questions. You're the person who can see a potential problem a mile away because you've already run through all the scenarios in your head. This makes you a natural strategist, a brilliant critical thinker, and an amazing problem solver. Next is O for overstimulation. This is the one we usually see as a negative, but let's flip it. Yes, you get overwhelmed more easily, but why? Because you are always taking in a massive amount of information from your environment. Your senses are dialed up to 11. You're not just hearing the meeting, you're noticing the tiny hesitation in your boss's voice, the way a colleague is anxiously fidgeting, and the fact that the project's data doesn't quite add up. This isn't a flaw, it's a highly calibrated detection system. This incredible attention to detail means you produce higher quality work and catch mistakes that everyone else misses. Then we have E for empathy and emotional responsiveness. This is probably the most famous HSP trait. You have a wild ability to know what other people are feeling, sometimes before they even know themselves. Your mirror neurons are basically working overtime, allowing you to genuinely feel with people, not just for them. In a job, this makes you an incredibly supportive teammate, a trusted leader, and a rock star at any role that requires understanding what a client or customer needs on a deep intuitive level. Finally, there's S for sensing the subtle. This ties all the other points together. It's your knack for picking up on the little things. This can be sensory, like being bothered by uncomfortable office lighting, but it's also social and emotional. You can read between the lines in an email, sense the real meaning behind what someone is saying, and just get the dynamics of a group. This gives you a kind of professional spidey sense, helping you navigate situations with a rare and valuable wisdom. So when we put it all together, what makes a career a true HSP sanctuary? It's about way more than just finding a quiet job. We're looking for roles that can give you 1. A calm, low stimulation environment. Think a quiet office, a remote setup, or even the peace and quiet of nature. 2. Room for deep, focused work. Roles that let you get in the zone without a million interruptions. 3. A real sense of purpose. HSPs need to feel like their work matters and is making a positive difference. 4. Autonomy and control. Being able to manage your own schedule and workload is a total game changer for managing your energy. 5. Meaningful one-on-one connections. Many HSPs prefer deep conversations over superficial networking. And 6. A culture that values quality. Places where thoughtful, high-quality work is valued more than just pure speed. As we go through this list, keep these points in mind. Think about which of these are most important to you and how they match up with your own personal superpowers. All right, this is the moment you've been waiting for. We've broken down our ultimate job list into 3 categories, or sanctuaries, that play to the core strengths of highly sensitive people. Remember, this is for inspiration, not a strict prescription. As we go through them, really try to picture yourself in the role. How would it feel to do this work all day? Category 1, the nurturing niches. Careers for deep empathy. The first category is for HSPs whose greatest superpower is their deep empathy and their drive to help others heal, grow, and feel better. These jobs harness your ability to connect intuitively with people, usually in a calm one-on-one setting. A quick heads up. Because you feel so deeply, these roles require excellent self-care and strong boundaries to avoid burnout. Job number 1, Occupational Therapist, or OT. Imagine a job where your main goal is to help people live more fulfilling lives, all within a calm, controlled setting. That's the world of an occupational therapist. OTs help people dealing with injuries, illnesses, or disabilities do the everyday things they want and need to do. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This job is a definition of one-on-one, purpose-driven work. You're not just treating a symptom, you're seeing a whole person and creatively solving problems to fit their unique life. Your HSP empathy lets you truly understand a patient's struggles, and your eye for detail helps you design super effective, personalized therapy plans. The work is incredibly meaningful, and you get to see the real world impact you're making. Plus, sessions are usually in quiet clinics or a patient's home, letting you dodge the chaos of a busy hospital floor. A day in the life. You may start your day helping a child with sensory issues learn to tolerate different textures through play. Later, you could visit an elderly client at home, helping them adapt their kitchen so they can keep cooking for themselves after a stroke. You spend your day in deep, focused connection, using your creativity and compassion to make a real difference. Job number 2, therapist, counselor, or coach. This one might seem obvious, but it's a classic for a reason. Research shows that a huge number of therapists are HSPs themselves. You're looking at one. Your natural empathy, deep listening skills, and ability to see patterns in people's lives make you a perfect fit. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This is a career built on deep, meaningful conversation, a place where small talk goes to die and authenticity is everything. You create a quiet, safe space for others to explore their inner worlds. To make this an even better fit, you could specialize. Become an art therapist and use creativity as a healing tool. Focus on mindfulness-based therapies that align with your reflective nature. Or you could coach other HSPs using your personal insight to guide them. This path also opens the door to self-employment, giving you total control over your schedule, your office, and your clients. A day in the life. You spend your days in a calm, thoughtfully designed office, or connect with clients from the comfort of your home. Each session is a deep dive, a sacred space where you are 100% present. You're not just hearing words, you're sensing the emotions underneath, helping your client connect the dots. Between sessions, you have quiet time to reflect, write notes, and recharge. It's demanding work, but the sense of purpose is immense. Job number 3, acupuncturist or massage therapist. Connect with people through more than just words. A career in quiet healing can be a perfect match. These jobs use your sensitivity to touch, energy, and the subtle signals of the body. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. The environment is the sanctuary. A treatment room is a cocoon of calm, soft lighting, quiet music, a peaceful vibe. Your work is a kind of deep nonverbal communication. As a massage therapist, your sensitive hands can feel tension in the body that others wouldn't notice. As an acupuncturist, your intuition helps you identify imbalances and help the body heal itself. A day in the life. Your day is a quiet rhythm of one-on-one appointments. A client comes in stressed out with chronic back pain. You welcome them into your serene space, speak in a low, calm voice, and then the deep work begins. Your focus is entirely on them and the feedback their body is giving you. No meetings, no office drama, no chaotic noise. Just you, your client, and the focused meditative act of healing. Category 2, the analytical havens, careers for deep thinkers. This category is for the HSPs who love getting lost in a world of information, ideas, and complex puzzles. Your superpower is that depth of processing, your ability to focus like a laser, analyze deeply, and find the signal in the noise. These jobs give you the quiet and the intellectual challenge you crave. Job number 4, data analyst. Don't let the title fool you into thinking this is some boring robotic job. For an HSP, being a data analyst is like being a data detective. You're the one who gets to uncover the hidden stories and meaningful insights buried in giant piles of numbers. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This role is a paradise for deep, independent, focused work. It's a perfect use of the HSP's ability to spot patterns and details that everyone else misses. And the best part? You can connect this skill to a deep sense of purpose. Imagine being a data analyst for a nonprofit, figuring out how to improve fundraising for a cause you love, or working for a public health organization, tracking disease outbreaks to keep communities safe. Many data analyst jobs are remote friendly, letting you create your own perfect quiet work bubble. A day in the life. You start your day with a coffee and a giant data set. Put on your headphones, tune out the world, and dive in. You're cleaning the data, looking for weird outliers, running tests, and slowly a story starts to appear. You might create a chart that shows a surprising trend, which you then write up in a clear report. Your teamwork is often done through email or shared docs, protecting your precious focus time. You end the day with the deep satisfaction of solving a complex puzzle that actually matters. Job number 5, technical writer. If you're an HSP who loves both technology and words, technical writing could be your dream career. Your job is to act as a bridge, translating super complex technical jargon into clear, simple, and helpful instructions for regular people. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This role is a celebration of quiet focus, insane attention to detail, and empathy for the user. You have to put yourself in the shoes of someone who is confused and frustrated and create something that guides them to a solution. It's a form of teaching and helping, but from the sanctuary of your own quiet space. The work is very independent and is one of the most remote-friendly careers out there. You're judged on the quality of your work, not by how bubbly you are. A day in the life. Your main project is creating the user guide for a new app. You spend your morning playing with the software, testing every feature, trying to break it, and taking detailed notes. You think about every possible question a user could have. In the afternoon, you write. You craft precise, step-by-step instructions, take clear screenshots, and organize everything logically. You might have a quick scheduled chat with a developer to clear something up, but most of your day is spent in that wonderful state of deep productive flow. Job number 6, research scientist / academic researcher. For the HSP with a bottomless curiosity and a love of learning, the world of research can be the ultimate sanctuary. This is a career dedicated entirely to the deep pursuit of knowledge. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This path is practically built for deep processors. It involves spending long, uninterrupted stretches of time exploring a single topic, designing experiments, analyzing data, and adding to what the world knows. Whether you're in a quiet lab, a silent library archive, or your own office, the environment is made for focus. Social stuff is usually limited to small team meetings or academic conferences that are all about your shared intellectual passions. A day in the life. You could spend your day in a lab, meticulously running an experiment you've been designing for months. Or maybe you're in a university library, surrounded by old books, piecing together a historical story. Or you're at your computer, analyzing a massive data set, getting ready to write a paper for a scientific journal. The work is slow, deliberate, and deeply intellectual. It's a marathon, not a sprint, which perfectly suits the HSP's thorough nature. Job number 7, paralegal or legal researcher. For the HSP who craves structure, order, and a sense of justice, being a paralegal can be a surprisingly good fit. This role lets you use your analytical skills inside a well-defined system. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This job is all about obsessive detail and deep research. You are the backbone of a legal case, responsible for gathering info, organizing documents, and writing reports. Your HSP conscientiousness and attention to detail are huge assets here. One missed detail can change everything. While it's in the legal field, a lot of the work is solitary and focused. Interactions are usually professional and structured, so you can avoid a lot of emotional chaos. The work feels incredibly important as you're directly helping to get justice for clients. A day in the life. You might spend your morning in the quiet of a law library or an online database digging up legal precedents for a case. The afternoon could be spent carefully organizing and summarizing witness testimonies, creating a perfectly ordered file that the attorney will rely on. You're working in a world of logic, rules, and facts, which can be very grounding for a sensitive nervous system. Category 3. The creative sanctuaries. Careers for deep sensibilities. This last category is for the HSPs who see the world in a different light. Your superpower is sensing the subtle. Your keen eye for beauty, your rich inner world, and your intuitive grasp of how things look and feel. These careers let you turn your unique way of experiencing the world into tangible, beautiful work. Job number 8, graphic designer or UX designer. In our visually driven world, being able to create clear, beautiful, and intuitive designs is more valuable than ever. This is a field where the HSP's eye for subtlety really shines. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. A graphic designer notices the tiny details of spacing, color harmony, and fonts that create a whole mood. A user experience UX designer goes even deeper, mixing empathy with creativity. UX is all about understanding the user's journey, anticipating what they need, and designing a product or website that feels effortless. This lets an HSP use their empathy in a creative, problem-solving way. Many design roles are freelance or remote, giving you that critical control over your workspace. A day in a life. You start your day with some quiet brainstorming, sketching ideas in a notebook. Then you move to your computer, put on some instrumental music, and get into a creative flow state. You might be designing a logo, carefully tweaking curves and colors until it just feels right. Or you could be mapping out a new app, thinking through every single click from the user's point of view. Job number 9, librarian. Forget the old stereotype of a librarian just stamping books. Today's librarian is a curator of knowledge, a guide for the curious, and a guardian of quiet space in a loud world. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. The library is one of the last true public sanctuaries of quiet. It's an environment built on order, calm, and the love of knowledge. As a librarian, your job is to help people. You have tons of one-on-one interactions, but they're focused and purpose-driven, helping a student find sources, recommending the perfect novel, or teaching someone how to use a digital tool. It's a service role that uses your knowledge and desire to help, but inside a beautifully quiet and structured place. Your morning might be spent thoughtfully putting together a new collection of books for a display. In the afternoon, you sit at the reference desk, a calm anchor in the quiet room. Someone approaches looking for information on a really niche topic. This is your moment. You use your deep knowledge of the library systems to guide them to the exact resources they need, feeling the quiet satisfaction of connecting someone with the information they were looking for. Job number 10, photographer or videographer with a specialization. For the HSP who literally sees the world differently, photography or videography can be a way to share that unique vision. Your ability to notice subtle light, texture, and emotion can become powerful, moving art. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. The key here is to specialize. Sure, shooting weddings can be overwhelming, but specializing in things like nature, wildlife, portraits, or product photography lets you work in calm, controlled settings. Being alone in the woods at dawn, waiting for the perfect light, is a meditative experience. A one-on-one portrait session can be a space of quiet intimacy where your empathy helps you capture someone's true self. This is a career where you can turn your sensitivity into a distinct artistic style. A day in the life. You spend the day editing photos from a recent shoot in the quiet of your home studio, lost in the details of light and shadow, color, and composition. Each image is a small world you get to perfect. Or maybe you're out on a solo mission, hiking to a remote spot to capture a landscape with only the sounds of nature for company. The work is creative, independent, and lets you express your deep appreciation for the beauty of the world. Job number 11. Landscape designer, gardener, or florist. There is a deep primal link between HSPs and the natural world. Nature is like a healing balm for an overstimulated nervous system. A career working directly with plants and natural spaces can be incredibly grounding and fulfilling. Why it's an HSP sanctuary. This work is physical, sensory, and creative. It gets you out of your head and into your body. As a landscape designer, you use your creative vision to design beautiful, serene outdoor spaces. As a gardener or florist, you're directly involved in the meditative, tactile process of nurturing and arranging plants. The work is often solitary or involves quiet teamwork with clients who love nature as much as you do. It's a career that actively reduces stress instead of creating it. A day in the life. You could spend your day at a nursery, surrounded by the sights and smells of plants, helping a client pick the perfect combination for their garden. Or you might be on site, physically working the earth, planting a garden you designed, feeling the sun on your back. As a florist, you could be in your quiet shop surrounded by buckets of beautiful flowers, using your artistic eye to create stunning arrangements. The focus is on natural beauty, not artificial deadlines. Okay, after going through all those jobs, you might be thinking, none of those feel exactly right for me. And that's completely okay. Because the most important thing to take away from this video isn't a specific job title. It's a fundamental shift in how you think. The goal is not to find a job on some pre-approval list. The goal is to become an expert on your own needs and to learn how to spot or even create work environments where you can thrive. The specific job title is way less important than the day-to-day reality of the role and the culture of the workplace. A project manager at a small, quiet art museum will feel totally different from a project manager at a chaotic tech startup. Same title, different universe. This brings us to what might be the ultimate HSP career move, self-employment or freelancing. For so many sensitive people, the best way to control stimulation and honor their own rhythm is to become their own boss. When you work for yourself, you're in charge. You decide your hours. You design your workspace. You pick your clients. You set your own pace. If you need a quiet morning to think before diving into work, you can take it. If a potential client feels draining or their project doesn't align with your values, you have the power to say, no thanks. Of course, freelancing has its own stressors. Unpredictable income, having to do your own marketing. But for many HSPs, the trade-off is more than worth it. The freedom and the ability to build a work life that's perfectly tailored to your nervous system is the ultimate form of career self-care. And almost every job we talked about today, writer, designer, therapist, photographer, can be done on a freelance basis. So, how do you start moving toward your own career sanctuary? It's not about making a huge, terrifying leap overnight. It's about taking small, gentle steps. First, do some self-reflection. Grab a journal and make 2 lists, your must-haves and your can't-stands. What are the absolute non-negotiables for you in a job? Maybe it's a quiet space or flexible hours. And what are the deal breakers? Constant interruptions, a noisy open office. Be really honest with yourself. Also, track your energy for a week. Make a note of which tasks and people leave you feeling energized and which leave you feeling drained. That data is your personal roadmap. Second, start dating potential careers. You don't have to quit your job and enroll in a 4-year degree program. Take a cheap online course in UX design or data analytics. Volunteer for a nonprofit in a field that interests you. Reach out to someone on LinkedIn who has a job you think is cool and ask for a 15-minute informational interview to hear what their day is really like. These are low-risk ways to test the waters. Finally, what if you can't leave your current job right now? Focus on what you can control and start to carve out a sanctuary right where you are. Can you start using noise-canceling headphones? They are an HSP's best friend. Can you talk to your manager about your work style? Frame it in terms of productivity. Say something like, I do my best work when I can have a couple of uninterrupted hours. Would it be okay if I block off 9 to 11 a.m. on my calendar for focus time? Can you book a small conference room for yourself when you need to think? Start small, and you might be surprised at how much you can change your current reality. We've explored a lot today, from understanding your HSP superpowers to diving into the sanctuaries of the nurturing niches, analytical havens, and creative sanctuaries. But I want to bring it all back to one central powerful message. Your sensitivity is not a liability in your career. It is your greatest asset. It's the source of your empathy, your creativity, your conscientiousness, and your insight. The journey isn't about learning to toughen up. It's about having the courage to find and create environments where your softness is your strength, where your depth is your advantage, and where your thoughtfulness is celebrated. Finding a career that honors your nature isn't just about a paycheck. It's about coming home to yourself. Now, I'd love to hear from you. It helps so much to know that we're not alone in this. In the comments below, tell me, what is your dream job as an HSP? Or what career have you found that truly feels like a sanctuary? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If this video resonated with you and you want more content on how to thrive as a highly sensitive person, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Here on Compassionate Conversations, we're building a whole community of HSPs who are changing the conversation around sensitivity. And in case you haven't watched my popular video on HSPs and career, click here. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Remember to be gentle with yourself and know that a peaceful, fulfilling career isn't just possible, it's what you deserve.